47 soldiers stood waiting to be welcomed home. One by one, their families came running, until only one soldier was left standing, alone, forgotten. Even the officers didn't know what to do with him. Then suddenly, two tiny girls broke through the crowd, grabbed his hand, and said, "Appa?" He froze, because he wasn't their father. But 3 weeks earlier, he was the last person to see their real father alive. We are starting the story now. Quickly drop a comment if you have ever had a family member who was in the army and how you felt when they finally came home to you. Feel free to pour your heart out. This is a safe space. The ceremony started at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It was a cold November day, the kind where you could see your breath when you talked. Sergeant Jae-won Oh stood with 47 other soldiers on the big open field at the military base in Pyeongtaek. His back was starting to hurt from standing so straight, but he did not move. Soldiers do not move during ceremonies, even when their backs hurt. The commanding officer was giving a speech. He was talking about brave soldiers and coming home and families waiting. Jae-won was not really listening. He was looking at all the people instead, the big crowd of families standing behind a rope, holding signs and flowers and balloons that said, "Welcome home." Jae-won was looking for someone even though he knew that person would not be there. He could not help it. Your eyes look for things your heart wants, even when your brain knows better. 4 months ago, his family got a letter. The letter said Jae-won was dead. The military made a mistake. There were 2 soldiers with names that sounded almost the same, and someone wrote down the wrong name, and the wrong family got the bad news. By the time the military said, "Sorry, but we made a mistake. Your son is actually alive," it was too late. His mother had already cried for weeks. His father had already packed up Jae-won's old bedroom. They had already said goodbye. When Jae-won finally got to call home and tell them he was alive, his mother cried again. But this time the crying sounded different. Confused, like she did not know if she should be happy or angry or sad. His father just kept saying, "How can this be real? How can you be alive when we buried you?" Except they had not buried him. There was no body, but they had buried the idea of him, and maybe that was the same thing. His younger brother Minho was even worse. "You cannot just come back," Minho had said on the phone. "We already mourned you. We already learned how to live without you. You cannot just undo that." Jae-won had tried calling 3 more times after that. No one picked up. He sent 5 emails. No one replied. He even wrote a real letter with a pen and paper and sent it in the mail. It came back unopened. So he stopped trying. Now he was standing on this field, watching other soldiers get welcomed home by people who loved them, and he was trying very hard not to feel anything about it. Make sure you don't go anywhere, because this story is the best you will listen to yet. It teaches patience, resilience, and the real definition of true love. The tap-out started. This was the best part of the ceremony. A family member would walk up to their soldier and touch their shoulder. That was the tap-out. It meant you could move again, you could hug, you could go home. One by one, soldiers left the formation. A woman in a pretty dress ran forward and hugged a tall soldier so hard they both almost fell down. An old man walked slowly up to his son and just stood there crying and smiling at the same time. 3 little kids tackled their father, and he laughed and tried to hug all of them at once. Jae-won kept his eyes forward. He did not blink. He breathed slow and steady. 40 soldiers left standing. 35, 30, 20. The crowd was getting smaller now. Families were walking to the parking lot, still hugging their soldiers, still so happy they could not stop smiling. 15 soldiers, 10, 5. The officer called another name. A young soldier, maybe 22 years old, got jumped on by so many people Jae-won could not even count them all. Brothers, sisters, parents, grandparents, everyone. 4 soldiers, 3, 2. The second to last name got called. That soldier left. Now it was just Jae-won. The field got very quiet. The kind of quiet that feels loud because everyone is trying not to make noise. People were looking at him now. He could feel their eyes. Some people looked sad for him. Some looked uncomfortable, like they had seen something they were not supposed to see. The ceremony officer looked at his paper. Then he looked at the other officer. They both looked confused and sorry at the same time. Jae-won cleared his throat. His voice came out steady. "Sir? Permission to be dismissed?" But before the officer could answer, Jae-won felt something tug on his uniform. He looked down. 2 little girls were standing there, staring up at him with big eyes. They looked exactly the same. Twins, maybe 5 years old. Both of them were wearing yellow dresses that were a little too long, like maybe someone bought them big so the girls could wear them for a long time. Their hair was in matching ponytails with yellow ribbons. One girl was holding Jae-won's hand. The other was hugging his leg. Jae-won forgot how to breathe. "Appa," the first little girl said. Her voice was tiny and serious. Jae-won's heart stopped. He could not move, could not think. "You look like our Appa," the girl said. She squeezed his hand. "We know you are not him, but you look like him." The other girl nodded. She was still hugging his leg. "And you were standing alone. Appa would not like that. He always said nobody should stand alone." "Ever," the first girl added. "Nobody should stand alone ever." Jae-won felt something break inside his chest. Not a bad break, a different kind, like when ice starts to melt. Very slowly, moving careful like the girls were made of glass, he went down on one knee. He was still wearing all his uniform. He still had his rifle on his back. But these 2 tiny strangers were looking at him like he was exactly the person they had been hoping to find. "What are your names?" he asked. His voice sounded strange, rough and soft at the same time. "I'm Sua," said the one holding his hand. "I'm Suyeon," said the other one. She let go of his leg so she could hug his arm instead. "What's your name?" "Jae-won." "Jae-won," Suyeon said slowly like she was tasting the word. "That's a nice name. Do you have a family here?" Jae-won should have lied. Lying would have been easier. But these girls were looking at him so honest and open that he could not make his mouth say anything but the truth. "No," he said. "I don't." Sua's face got all scrunched up with worry. She looked back over her shoulder at the crowd of people. Then she looked at him again. "Then you can share ours, right, Akewe?" "Who's Akewe?" Jae-won asked. "She takes care of us," Suyeon said. "She's really, really nice, and she makes the best rice in the whole world. Do you like rice?" Jae-won almost smiled. "Yes, I like rice very much." "Good," Sua said, like that settled everything. Jae-won looked up to see who the girls were talking about. A woman was walking toward them. She was tall, with dark brown skin and black hair pulled back tight. She was wearing a blue dress and carrying a bag on her shoulder. But what Jae-won noticed most was her face. She had tears on her cheeks and her eyes looked empty, like someone had just taken something very important away from her and she did not know what to do about it. She stopped walking when she got close. She looked at her 2 girls hanging on to a strange soldier and her mouth opened a little bit, but no sound came out. "I'm very sorry," she said. She was speaking Korean, but her voice sounded different. Like music, almost. "They did not mean to bother you." "They are not bothering me," Jae-won said quietly. The woman looked at him more carefully now. "Were you the last one? The last soldier?" Jae-won nodded. Something changed in her face. Not pity. Something else. Like she understood what it felt like. "I'm Akewe," she said. "I take care of Sua and Suyan." "Sergeant Jae-won Oh." They looked at each other for a moment. Jae-won did not know what to say. The girls were still holding on to him. Akewe took a big breath. "We came to pick up their father, Captain Park Dae-jung, but an officer told me 10 minutes ago that he did not make it back." The name hit Jae-won like someone had punched him in the stomach. Captain Park. Suddenly he could see it. 3 weeks ago. Nighttime. They were trying to get out of a bad place fast. The explosion. Captain Park on the ground with blood everywhere. Jae-won pressing his hands on the wound and yelling for help. Park's hand grabbing Jae-won's arm so tight it hurt. "My girls," Park had said. His voice was getting quieter and quieter. "Sua and Suyan, 5 years old. Akewe takes care of them. She always puts them in yellow dresses for special days. Tell them I love them. Please, tell them." Jae-won had stayed with Park until the helicopter came. He had held Park's hand until Park stopped squeezing back. And now those same little girls in yellow dresses were standing right in front of him, holding his hand, not knowing their father was never coming home. "I knew him," Jae-won said. The words felt too big for his throat. "We were in the same unit. We served together." Akewe's eyes got very wide. "You knew him?" "I was there. When he died." The whole world got very quiet. Akewe's hand went up to cover her mouth. A tear fell down her cheek, then another, then another. Suyan tugged on Akewe's dress. "Where's Appa? You said we were going to see Appa today." Akewe closed her eyes. More tears fell. "We will talk about it at home, sweet girl. I promise." "But you said..." "At home, Suyan." Suyan's bottom lip started shaking. She did not understand, but she could tell something was very wrong. Jae-won stood up slowly. His legs felt strange. "I should go," he said. "I should let you..." "Wait," Akewe said. Jae-won stopped. Akewe looked at the girls, then she looked at him. She looked so tired and sad and lost that Jae-won wanted to do something to help, but he did not know what. "I know we just met," Akewe said. "I know this is very strange. But would you come with us? Just for a little while? There's a cafe close by. I need to sit down. I need to think. And the girls seem to like you. And if you knew their father, then maybe..." She stopped talking. She looked like she might cry again. Jae-won knew he should say no. This was not his family, not his problem. He should walk away and let them be sad together without a stranger watching. But Sua was still holding his hand, and he could still hear Captain Park's voice saying, "Take care of them if you can, please." "Okay," Jae-won said. "I will come." The cafe was small and warm. It was called Halmoni's Kitchen, but it did not sell food, just coffee and some snacks in plastic packages. An old grandmother who owned the place waved at Akewe when they walked in. "Your usual?" the grandmother called. "Yes, please, Halmoni," Akewe said. She looked at Jae-won. "Do you want something?" "Just black coffee, thank you." They sat at a table in the corner. The girls climbed into chairs and pulled out coloring books from Akewe's bag. They started drawing right away, their heads close together, talking in little whispers that only they could understand. Akewe sat across from them. Jae-won sat at the end of the table, close enough to be part of the group, but far enough that he could leave if he needed to. Akewe wrapped her hands around her coffee cup but did not drink. She just stared at it, like maybe the cup had answers written on it somewhere. "They don't know yet," she said very quietly. "About their father." Jae-won nodded. He did not know what to say. Captain Park was supposed to come home today, Akewe said. Her voice was shaking just a little bit. The girls were so excited. They picked out their yellow dresses. They made him cards. They practiced saying, "Welcome home, Appa," for a week. She stopped and took a big breath. And then right before the ceremony ended, an officer found me and told me Captain Park did not make it, that he was gone. Jae-won felt his chest get tight. "You said you were there," Akewe said. She looked at him now. Her eyes were red and wet. "When it happened, can you tell me what happened? Please, I need to know." Jae-won did not want to tell her, did not want to make her more sad. But he understood needing to know. Sometimes not knowing is worse than knowing. "We were trying to get out of a dangerous place," Jae-won said. He kept his voice quiet so the girls would not hear. "There was an explosion. Captain Park got hurt very badly. I stayed with him until the helicopter came to help, but it was too late." He paused. "It happened fast. He did not suffer for a long time." "Did he say anything?" "He talked about the girls, about you. He told me their names. He told me you take care of them. He said you always dress them in yellow for important days." Jae-won's voice cracked. He was right. Akewe put her hand over her mouth. Tears ran down her face, but she did not make any noise. She was trying to cry without the girls seeing. Sua looked up from her coloring. "Akewe? Why are you crying?" Akewe wiped her face fast. "I'm okay, sweetie. Just a little sad today." "Is it about Appa?" Sua asked. "When is he coming?" Akewe's whole face looked like it might break. She opened her mouth, but no words came out. Jae-won found himself talking instead. "Your Appa was very brave," he said to Sua, "and very kind. He talked about you all the time." Suyeon put down her crayon. "He did?" "All the time. He said you," Jae-won pointed at Sua, "laugh like music, and you?" He pointed at Suyeon. "Ask more questions than anyone he ever met." Suyeon smiled a tiny bit. "I do ask a lot of questions. Akewe says I ask questions about everything." "Your Appa loved that about you. He thought it meant you were smart." "I am smart," Suyeon said. Then she looked worried. "But when is he coming home?" The table got very quiet. Akewe's hands were shaking. She put them in her lap so the girls would not see. "He's not coming home," Akewe said. Her voice was so quiet Jae-won almost did not hear her. "He got hurt very badly and he died." Sua's eyes got very big. "Like Iyama?" "Yes, baby, like your Iyama." Suyeon's eyes filled up with tears. "But he promised. He said he would come home. He promised us." "I know he did," Akewe said, "and he tried so hard to keep that promise. Sometimes people try their very hardest, and things still don't work out." "That's not fair," Suyeon said. Her voice was getting loud now. "He promised." "You're right," Jae-won said. "It's not fair at all." Suyeon looked at him. Tears were running down her face. "Did you know our Appa?" "Yes." "Was he nice?" "He was one of the nicest people I ever met." "Did he really talk about us?" "Every single day. He loved you both so much." Sua started crying too. Not loud, just quiet tears falling down. "I don't want him to be dead. I want him to come home." "I know," Jae-won said. "I'm so sorry." Then both girls were crying and Akewe pulled them close, and all three of them were holding each other and crying together. Jae-won sat there feeling like his heart was breaking into 100 pieces. After a while, the crying got quieter. The girls were tired from crying. They leaned against Akewe and did not say anything. The grandmother brought hot chocolate for the girls. She patted Akewe on the shoulder and walked away without saying anything. Sometimes the best thing to do is just be quiet and kind. The girls drank their hot chocolate slowly, They did not color anymore. They just sat there looking small and sad. I don't know how to do this, Akewe said quietly. She was talking to Jae-won now. Their mother died when they were born. Something went wrong during the birth and she died. Captain Park raised them by himself with my help. I was their mother's best friend. We met at the school where I teach. Before she died, she made me promise I would help with the girls. So I did. I helped every day. And now? Her voice broke. Now both their parents are gone and I'm all they have left. You're enough, Jae-won said. More than enough. I don't feel like enough. I feel like I'm going to break into pieces. But you won't. Because they need you. And you love them. That's enough. Akewe looked at him with wet eyes. Why didn't anyone come for you today? At the ceremony? Jae-won had hoped she would not ask, but he answered anyway. The military made a mistake 4 months ago. They told my family I was dead. Wrong soldier, wrong name. My family had a funeral. They cried. They said goodbye. Then the military said, sorry, we made a mistake. He's actually alive. But by then it was too late. My family could not undo all that grief. My brother told me not to call anymore, so I stopped trying. Akewe looked angry now. That's terrible. You came home? You're alive? They should be there. They already said goodbye to me. I can't ask them to unsay it. Yes, you can. You're their son, their brother. They should be there. Her anger on his behalf felt strange and nice. It's okay, Jae-won said. I'm used to being alone. Well, you shouldn't have to be. Before Jae-won could answer, Sua tugged on his sleeve. Jae-won, can you come to our house? Sua, he probably has somewhere to go. Akewe started. But he said he's alone, Soo-yeon said, and we have a couch. He could sit on our couch. Akewe looked at Jae-won. She looked tired and sad and like she did not know what to do. You really don't have to. I know this is all very strange. It was strange. Jae-won had met these people an hour ago. He should say no thank you and go back to his empty room on the military base and deal with his own empty feelings. But Sua was still holding his hand, and Captain Park's voice was still in his head saying, please, take care of them. If you don't mind, Jae-won said, I would like to come. Just for a little while. Akewe nodded. She looked surprised, but also maybe a little bit relieved. Okay, just for dinner. Then you can go home. Okay, Jae-won said. The girls smiled. It was small and sad, but it was still a smile. And for the first time all day, Jae-won felt like maybe he was supposed to be exactly where he was. Akewe's apartment was on the 3rd floor of a building that looked old but clean. The stairs creaked when they walked up. Sua held Jae-won's hand the whole way. Soo-yeon held Akewe's hand but kept looking back at Jae-won like she was making sure he was still there. When they got inside, both girls kicked off their shoes at the door. Jae-won noticed they put them very neatly in a row, yellow shoes next to each other like twins. The apartment was small. You could see the kitchen from the living room and the living room from the kitchen. The walls had drawings taped everywhere. Drawings of families and houses and cats and things that might have been dragons, but also might have been dogs. It was hard to tell. This is Goldie, Sua said. She ran to a fishbowl on the kitchen counter. Inside was one small orange fish swimming in circles. Jae-won walked over and looked. Hello, Goldie. The fish did not answer, but Sua looked very pleased anyway. Goldie is very smart, Soo-yeon said. She knows tricks. What kind of tricks? Jae-won asked. She can swim in a circle. Watch. They all watched. Goldie swam in a circle. That's very impressive, Jae-won said seriously. Soo-yeon beamed. Akewe took off her coat and hung it by the door. I'm going to make dinner. You can sit anywhere you like. Can I help? Jae-won asked. You're a guest. You should rest. I don't mind helping. Akewei looked at him for a moment. Then she nodded. Okay, you can chop vegetables. The kitchen was so small that when both of them stood in it, they had to be careful not to bump into each other. Akewei pulled out rice and chicken and vegetables from the refrigerator. She handed Jae-won a cutting board and a knife. What are we making? He asked. Jollof rice and fried plantains and chicken. I've never had jollof rice before. Then you're in for something good. My mother taught me how to make it when I was very young. She says I don't make it right because I change too many things, but the girls like it this way. They worked quietly for a bit. Jae-won chopped onions. Akewei seasoned the chicken. The girls were in the living room playing with blocks, their voices soft and tired. How long have you been in Korea? Jae-won asked. 9 years. I came to teach at an international school in Seoul. I was only supposed to stay for 2 years, but then I met the girl's mother and we became best friends. She was Korean, but she taught French at the same school. We were the only 2 teachers under 30, so we stuck together. Akewei smiled, but it was a sad smile. When she got pregnant, I was so happy. When she died, I thought I would die too. I'm sorry. Captain Park was so lost after she died. He had 2 tiny babies and no wife and no idea what to do. So I helped. I moved closer to him. I watched the girls when he had to work. I taught them how to talk and walk and use the bathroom. They became mine even though they weren't mine. Does that make sense? Yes, Jae-won said. It makes perfect sense. They kept cooking. The kitchen started to smell amazing, like spices and warmth and something Jae-won could not name but made his stomach rumble. Why did you join the military? Akewei asked. My father was a soldier. His father was a soldier. It's what the men in my family do. Did you want to do it? No one had ever asked Jae-won that before. He had to think about his answer. I don't know. I was 18. I didn't know what I wanted. The military seemed like a good idea. A way to make my father proud. Are you happy you did it? Jae-won thought about the last 8 months. The heat, the fear, the friends he lost. Captain Park dying in his arms, coming home to no one. I don't know, he said honestly. Some days yes, some days no. Today I don't know. Akewei nodded like she understood. They set the food on a low table in the living room. Everyone sat on cushions on the floor. The girls sat on either side of Jae-won without even asking. They just plopped down next to him like that was where they belonged. The jollof rice was red and smelled like tomatoes and peppers and things Jae-won had never smelled before. The plantains were sweet and soft. The chicken was perfect. This is delicious, Jae-won said. He meant it. It was the best food he had eaten in months. See? Sua said to Akewei. I told you everyone loves your cooking. Not everyone, Soo-yeon said. Mrs. Kim next door said it smells weird. Mrs. Kim next door eats fish for breakfast, Akewei said. I'm not taking cooking advice from her. The girls giggled. It was the first time Jae-won had heard them really laugh since they found out about their father. The sound made something warm spread in his chest. They ate quietly for a while. Then Sua said, Jae-won, do you have kids? No, I don't. Why not? Sua, that's a rude question, Akewei said. It's okay, Jae-won said. I don't have kids because I've been a soldier for a long time. Soldiers move around a lot. It's hard to have a family when you're always moving. Are you going to move away from us? Soo-yeon asked. She looked worried. I don't think so. I'm done moving for now. Good, Soo-yeon said. She went back to eating. After dinner, the girls started yawning. Big yawns that showed all their teeth. Bedtime, Akewe said. We're not tired, Suwa said, and then she yawned again. Bed. Now, go brush your teeth. The girls groaned, but they went. Jae-won could hear them in the bathroom arguing about whose turn it was to use the toothbrush first. They share a toothbrush? Jae-won asked. No, they each have their own. They just like to argue about whose turn it is to go first. They've been doing it since they were 3. When the girls came back, their faces were clean, and they were wearing matching pajamas. Yellow, of course. Can Jae-won read us a story? Soo-yeon asked. Akewe looked at Jae-won. You really don't have to. I want to, Jae-won said, and he realized he meant it. The girls' room was tiny. 2 small beds pushed against opposite walls, more drawings taped everywhere, stuffed animals piled on every surface. It smelled like baby shampoo and crayons. The girls climbed into their beds. Jae-won sat on the floor between them. Akewe handed him a book. It had a picture of a rabbit on the cover. This one, Suwa said. It's our favorite. Jae-won opened the book. It was about a rabbit who wanted to fly. All the other animals said rabbits can't fly, but the rabbit didn't give up. He tried and tried and tried. In the end, he didn't exactly fly, but he learned to jump so high it felt like flying. Jae-won read slowly. His voice was quiet and steady. Halfway through the book, Sua's eyes started closing. By the end of the book, both girls were asleep. Jae-won stood up carefully. He looked at them for a moment. They looked so small in their beds. So peaceful. Like they weren't carrying around the weight of losing both their parents. When he came out of the room, Akewe was sitting on the couch with a cup of tea. She had made one for him too. Thank you, he said, sitting down. For the tea. For dinner. For letting me be here. Thank you for coming. I don't think I could have told them about their father by myself. Having you there helped. They sat quietly for a while. Outside, a dog barked. A car drove by. Normal night sounds. Can I ask you something? Akewe said. Yes. What are you going to do now? Do you have family to go back to? Friends? Jae-won shook his head. My family doesn't want me. My friends from before the military all have their own lives now. I have temporary housing on the base, but it's just a room with a bed. Nothing else. That sounds lonely. It is. Akewe looked at him. Really looked. You could come back, tomorrow I mean, and the day after if you want. The girls like you. And I think it would be good for them to talk to someone who knew their father. Jae-won's throat felt tight. Are you sure? No, but I'm asking anyway. Jae-won almost smiled. Then yes, I would like that very much. The next day, Jae-won came back. He brought groceries, milk and bread and apples and rice, things he thought they might need. Akewe opened the door and saw all the bags. You didn't have to do this. I wanted to help. The girls ran to the door when they heard his voice. Jae-won! You came back. I said I would. Lots of people say things and don't do them, Soo-yeon said wisely. But you did. That's good. They had dinner together again. This time Akewe made soup and dumplings. The girls talked about school, about their teacher who had a very squeaky voice, about the boy in their class who ate glue. Why would anyone eat glue? Jae-won asked. We asked him that, Suwa said. He said it tastes like nothing. We think he's weird. After dinner, Jae-won noticed the bathroom sink was leaking. Do you have tools? He asked Akewe. Maybe. I don't know. Captain Park used to fix things, but I never learned how. Jae-won found some tools under the sink. He fixed the leak in 10 minutes. Then he noticed the bedroom door was squeaky. He fixed that too. Then he tightened the loose handle on the refrigerator. "You're very good at fixing things," Akewe said. "The military teaches you how to fix things. When you're far from home, you can't call someone to help. You have to figure it out yourself." "Well, thank you. I've been meaning to fix that sink for 3 months. Jae-won came back the next day. And the day after that. And the day after that. He never planned to keep coming. Each time he thought, this is the last time. Tomorrow I'll stay on base. But then tomorrow would come and he would think about the girls and wonder if they were okay. And before he knew it, he was on the bus to their apartment. 1 week passed, then 2, then a month. It was January now. Cold and gray outside. But inside Akewe's apartment, it was warm. Jae-won started learning the girls' routine. They woke up at 7. They ate cereal with maple syrup. They argued about everything, socks and shirts and who got to feed Goldie. Akewe would get tired and say, "If you don't pick an outfit in 5 seconds, I'm picking for you." And suddenly the girls would be dressed. After school, they did homework at the kitchen table. Suah was good at reading. Soo-yeon was good at math. They helped each other without even being asked. Jae-won helped too. He was patient when Soo-yeon didn't understand her numbers. He listened when Suah wanted to read her book out loud 3 times. One afternoon, Soo-yeon climbed into his lap while he was reading the newspaper. She didn't say anything, just climbed up and got comfortable like he was a chair. "Are you okay?" Jae-won asked. "I'm fine, I just like sitting here." "Okay." She stayed there for an hour, just sitting. Sometimes she dozed off. Jae-won didn't move. His arm fell asleep and his back got stiff, but he didn't care. Across the room, Akewe was grading papers. She looked up and saw them. Her eyes got shiny like she might cry, but she smiled instead. That night, after the girls went to bed, Akewe made tea. She and Jae-won sat on the couch like they did every night now. "Can I ask you something?" Akewe said. "Always." "Why do you keep coming back?" Jae-won had known she would ask eventually. He had been asking himself the same question. "I don't know how to explain it," he said slowly. "When I was at that ceremony, standing there with no one to come get me, I felt like I had disappeared, like I was a ghost, like I had died and no one told me. Then your girls walked up to me and held my hand, and suddenly I felt real again. Like I mattered. I keep coming back because being here makes me feel like I'm alive." Akewe's eyes were wet. "You do matter. You've been helping us every single day, fixing things, playing with the girls, making them laugh. They've been so sad since their father died, but when you're here, they're lighter, happier. You're doing that. They're helping me too, more than they know." They sat quietly. The heater made little clicking sounds. Outside, someone walked by talking on their phone. "What if you made this official?" Akewe said quietly. "What do you mean?" "I mean the girls need stability, a family. I'm their legal guardian, but I'm not their parent. I'm just me. But you could be more, if you wanted." Jae-won's heart started beating very fast. "Are you saying—" "I'm saying, what if you adopted them? What if you became their father for real? Not just the person who visits every day?" Jae-won could not breathe. "I've only known them for 6 weeks. I know, it's fast, maybe too fast. But they love you. I can see it, and I think you love them too." Jae-won thought about Suah holding his hand, Soo-yeon falling asleep in his lap, both of them running to the door when he arrived. The way they saved him the spot by the window at dinner. The pictures they drew for him that he kept in his pocket. "I do love them," he said. His voice was shaky. I didn't mean to. It just happened. Then let's do it. Let's make you their father. Are you sure? This is a big thing. What if I'm not good at it? What if I mess up? Everyone messes up. That's what being a parent is, messing up and trying again. But I've watched you with them. You're already good at it. Jae-won felt like he might cry. Okay, yes, let's do it. Akeway smiled. A real smile. The first real smile he had seen from her. Okay, we'll start tomorrow. The next day, Akeway called a lawyer. The lawyer's name was Mrs. Kang. She had gray hair and glasses, and a voice that sounded like she had heard everything and nothing surprised her anymore. They sat in her office. It smelled like old papers and coffee. So let me make sure I understand, Mrs. Kang said. You want to adopt 2 children you've known for 6 weeks. Yes, Jae-won said. Are you married to Ms. Akeway? No. Do you have stable housing? I'm in temporary military housing right now, but I can find an apartment. Stable income. I have savings from the military and I can get a job. Mrs. Kang took off her glasses and rubbed her eyes. Mr. Oh, I'm going to be very honest with you. This will be difficult. Single men don't usually adopt in Korea. The courts will want to see that you're stable, that you can provide, that you have a real connection with these children. I do have a connection. I knew their father. I was with him when he died. He asked me to take care of them. That's good. That helps, but you'll still need more. Character references, proof of income, a permanent home. The courts will send social workers to interview you and the children. They'll want to make sure this is real and not just a feeling that will go away. It won't go away, Jae-won said. I'm sure. Mrs. Kang looked at him for a long moment, then she put her glasses back on. All right, let's get started. It took Jae-won 2 weeks to find an apartment. It was small, but it was his. 2 bedrooms, 1 for him, 1 for the girls. It was only 2 blocks from Akeway's apartment. He bought beds for the girls' room, a table, a couch, dishes. Everything you need to make a house feel like a home. The girls came to see it before he had even finished unpacking. This is ours? Sua asked, standing in the doorway of what would be their room. If you want it to be. We want it, Suyeon said immediately. Can we paint the walls yellow? We'll ask Akeway, Jae-won said. They did paint the walls yellow, all 4 of them, Akeway and Jae-won and both girls. They got more paint on themselves than on the walls, but that was okay. By the end, everyone was laughing and yellow and happy. Jae-won got a job too, at a place that helped soldiers who came home and needed support. He would help them find housing and jobs and doctors if they needed them. The pay was not huge, but it was steady. It was enough. Social workers came to visit. They asked Jae-won questions about why he wanted to adopt. They watched him with the girls. They talked to the girls alone. Do you like Mr. Oh? One social worker asked Sua. He's not Mr. Oh. He's Jae-won. And yes, I like him very much. Why? Because he's nice. And he reads to us. And he fixed Akeway's sink. And he makes us feel safe. The social worker wrote that down. In May, they had the court hearing. Jae-won wore his military uniform. Akeway wore a pretty blue dress. The girls wore yellow. The judge was a woman with kind eyes. She read all the papers. She asked questions. Mr. O, you've known these children for 5 months. That's not very long. No, Your Honor, but their father asked me to remember them. And when I met them, I knew I couldn't walk away. Ms. Akeway, do you support this adoption? Yes, Your Honor. Jae-won has been there every single day. The girls love him, trust him. He's proven himself. The judge thought for a long time. The room was so quiet Jae-won could hear his own heartbeat. "I'm going to grant provisional custody for 6 months," the judge finally said. "We'll meet again in 6 months to see how things are going. If everything is stable, we'll make it permanent." Jae-won felt like he might fall over. "Thank you, Your Honor." "Take good care of them, Mr. Oh." "I will, I promise." Outside the courthouse, the girls hugged him so tight he could barely breathe. "Does this mean you're our Appa now?" Soo-yeon asked. Jae-won looked at Akewei. She nodded. "If you want me to be," Jae-won said. "We want you to be," both girls said together. And just like that, Jae-won, who had come home to no one, became a father to 2. The 6 months went by fast. Too fast. Jae-won felt like he blinked and suddenly it was November again, time for the second court hearing. The girls were different now, louder, happier. They had stopped having nightmares about losing their father. Well, mostly stopped. Some nights, Soo-yeon still woke up crying and crawled into Jae-won's bed. He never told her to go back to her room. He just made space and let her sleep there, her small hand holding onto his shirt like she was afraid he might disappear. The girls split their time between Jae-won's apartment and Akewei's. 3 days here, 3 days there. Sunday dinners were always together, all 4 of them at one table. Sometimes at Jae-won's place, sometimes at Akewei's. It did not matter where. What mattered was being together. On the first Sunday of every month, they visited Captain Park's memorial. It was a big wall with names carved into black stone. The girls always brought flowers, yellow ones. "Hi, Appa," Soo-ah would say, touching his name on the wall. "We miss you." "We're doing okay, though," Soo-yeon always added. "So you don't have to worry." Jae-won would stand back and let them have their moment. Sometimes Akewei would cry quietly. Jae-won would hold her hand and not say anything, because sometimes quiet is better than words. The second court hearing was on a cold morning in November. Same judge, same courtroom. But this time felt different. Less scary, more like a formality. The judge read through papers. She asked the social worker questions. The social worker said good things. The children are happy. The home is stable. Mr. Oh has proven himself to be a capable and loving parent. "Girls," the judge said, looking at Soo-ah and Soo-yeon, "do you like living with Mr. Oh?" "He's not Mr. Oh," Soo-ah said, just like she told the social worker months ago. "He's Appa." The judge smiled. "I see. And do you like living with Appa?" "Yes," both girls said together. "Why?" Soo-yeon thought about it. "Because he makes us pancakes even when it's not the weekend, and he helps with homework without getting grumpy, and he tucks us in every night, and he came back even when we thought no one would come back." The judge's eyes got a little wet. She cleared her throat. "Based on everything I've seen and read, I'm granting full permanent adoption. Mr. Oh, these girls are officially and legally your daughters." Jae-won could not speak. He just nodded. "Congratulations," the judge said. "You're a family now." Outside the courthouse, the girls jumped up and down. "We're a real family. We're a real family." "We were always a real family," Kaewei said, laughing. "Now it's just official." That night, they celebrated with ice cream. 3 flavors because the girls could not agree on just one. They ate until their stomachs hurt, and they were all laughing about nothing and everything. "Appa," Soo-ah said, chocolate ice cream on her nose. "Can we call you Appa all the time now, not just at home?" "You can call me Appa anywhere you want," Jae-won said. "Even at school? Especially at school?" Soo-ah grinned. "Good, because I've been calling you Appa to my friends for 2 months already. Just wanted to make sure it was okay." Jae-won laughed so hard he almost cried. Life settled into a comfortable rhythm. Mornings were chaotic. The girls arguing about socks and whose turn it was to feed Goldie, who now lived at Jae-won's apartment in a bigger bowl. Akewe would drop them at school on her way to work. Jae-won would pick them up after. Homework, dinner, baths, bedtime stories. The same routine every day, and Jae-won loved every second of it. He taught the girls to ride bikes in the park. Soo-ah learned fast. Soo-yeon fell down 6 times before she got it, and each time she got up saying, I'm okay, even though her knees were scraped and bleeding. You don't have to pretend you're okay when you're hurt, Jae-won told her, cleaning her knees with a wet cloth. But you do, Soo-yeon said. You never say when you're sad or hurt. That stopped Jae-won. She was right. He had spent so long being a soldier, not showing weakness, that he forgot how to be honest about pain. You're right, he said. I'll try to be better about that. Good, Soo-yeon said, because families are supposed to tell each other the truth. In November, 1 year after the tap-out ceremony, Jae-won took the girls to meet his parents. He had been talking to his mother on the phone for a few months now. Short calls at first, awkward, but slowly getting easier. She had cried when he told her about the girls, happy tears this time. I can't believe you're a father, she had said. I want to meet them. So he drove to Daegu where his parents lived. The girls were nervous. They kept asking questions. What if your parents don't like us? What if we say something wrong? What if they're mean? They're not mean, Jae-won promised. They're just sad people who made a mistake. But they want to fix it. His mother opened the door before they even knocked. She had been watching from the window. When she saw Jae-won, she started crying immediately. I'm sorry, she said, hugging him. I'm so sorry we weren't there. I'm so sorry. It's okay, Yama, Jae-won said. I'm here now. We're all here. His mother pulled back and looked at the girls. They were hiding behind Jae-won, suddenly shy. Are these my granddaughters? She asked. The girls peeked out. I'm Soo-ah. I'm Soo-yeon. You're both beautiful, Jae-won's mother said. Do you want to come inside? I made cookies. The word cookies worked like magic. The girls forgot to be shy. By the end of the visit, Jae-won's mother was teaching them how to make kimchi. His father was showing them old photos of Jae-won as a baby. The girls thought baby Jae-won was hilarious. You were so chubby, Soo-ah said, giggling. I was a very healthy baby, Jae-won said with dignity. His brother Min-ho showed up near the end. Things were still weird between them, but Min-ho tried. He brought the girls small toys and asked them about school and made an effort. That was enough for now. When they left, Jae-won's mother hugged him again. Bring them back soon, she said. Please. I will, Yama. I promise. Time kept moving. The girls turned 7. Then they turned 8. They grew taller, smarter, funnier. They started losing baby teeth and growing permanent ones. They joined soccer. They made friends. They brought home good grades and bad jokes and rocks they found that they swore were magic. Life was good. Really good. Jae-won had never been so happy. That's when the phone call came. It was a Tuesday morning in March. The girls were 8 years old now. Jae-won was making pancakes because Soo-ah had asked for them and he could never say no when she asked nicely. The girls were at the table arguing about whether strawberries or blueberries were better. It was a daily argument. No one ever won. Jae-won's phone rang. Military number. His stomach dropped. He had not seen a military number on his phone in almost 2 years. Hello? Sergeant Oh, this is Colonel Min. I need you to come to base today. 0900 hours. Sir, I'm not active duty anymore. Your reserves. We're calling you back. I'll explain when you get here. The line went dead. Jae-won stood there holding his phone. The pancakes were burning. He did not notice. Abba, the pancakes, Soo-yeon said. He turned off the stove. Akeway was at the door. She dropped the girls off most mornings before heading to work. She took one look at his face and knew something was wrong. What happened? She asked. I have to go to base. They're calling me in. Her face went pale. No. I don't know what it's about yet. Maybe it's nothing. But they both knew it was not nothing. At 9 o'clock, Jae-won sat in Colonel Min's office. The colonel did not waste time. We have a situation. We need people with your specific training. You're being recalled to active duty. 6-month deployment, maybe longer. Jae-won felt like the floor had disappeared. Sir, I have children now. 2 daughters. I can't just leave. I understand your situation, Sergeant. But this is not a request. This is an order. You have 2 weeks to get your affairs in order. You deploy on the 30th. Sir, please. There has to be someone else. There isn't. I'm sorry. You report on the 30th. That's final. Jae-won walked out of the office in a daze. He sat in his car for 20 minutes, just staring at nothing. How was he supposed to tell the girls? How was he supposed to leave them after promising he would always be there? He went to Akeway's apartment. She was there waiting. She had taken the day off work. What did they say? She asked. 6 months, maybe longer. I deploy in 2 weeks. Akeway sat down hard, like her legs stopped working. No, you can't. The girls just lost their father 2 years ago. They can't lose you too. I don't have a choice. It's an order. Then refuse. Quit. Do something. I can't. I'm in the reserves. I signed a contract. If I refuse, I go to prison. Akeway put her face in her hands. This can't be happening. I don't know how to tell them, Jae-won said quietly. They're going to be so scared. We'll tell them together, Akeway said. Tonight, after dinner, we'll tell them together. That evening, Jae-won picked the girls up from school like normal. They chattered about their day like normal. Sua's friend had lost another tooth. Soo-yeon got a gold star on her spelling test. Everything was normal, except it wasn't. After dinner, Jae-won and Akeway sat the girls down. Both girls knew immediately that something was wrong. Kids always know. What's happening? Sua asked. Her voice was small. I need to tell you something, Jae-won said. I got called back to work. Military work. I have to go away for a while. How long? Soo-yeon asked. 6 months, maybe a little longer. Both girls went very still. You're leaving? Sua whispered. I don't want to, but it's my job. I have to go. No, you don't. Soo-yeon's voice got loud. You can say no. You can stay here with us. Sweetheart, I can't. I wish I could, but I can't. Why not? Sua was crying now. Why do you have to go? Because I'm a soldier, and sometimes soldiers have to do hard things. You're going to die, Soo-yeon screamed. Just like our first Appa. You're going to die and never come back. She ran at Jae-won and started hitting his chest, not hard, just desperate, like she was trying to make him change his mind with her fists. Jae-won caught her hands gently. I'm not going to die. You don't know that, Soo-yeon sobbed. Our first Appa said he'd come back and he didn't. You're a liar just like him. I'm not lying. I promise you I will come back. You can't promise that. Sua was sobbing too now. People die in war. They die all the time. Jae-won pulled both girls close. They fought him at first, but then they just collapsed into him, crying so hard they were shaking. I know you're scared, Jae-won said. His own voice was breaking. I know you lost your first appa and it hurts so much, but I'm going to fight with everything I have to come back to you. Do you hear me? Everything. What if it's not enough? Suah whispered into his chest. It will be enough, because I have you two waiting for me. That makes me stronger than any other soldier in the world. I don't want you to go, Suyeon cried. Please don't go, please. I have to, baby girl. I'm so sorry, but I have to. They cried for a long time. Akewei sat with them, crying too, her arms around all three of them. When the crying finally slowed down, the girls would not let go of Jae-won. They held onto his arms, his shirt, his hands. Can we sleep at your apartment tonight? Suah asked. Of course, you can sleep there every night until I leave if you want. We want to, both girls said. The next 2 weeks were the hardest of Jae-won's life. The girls barely let him out of their sight. They followed him everywhere. Bathroom, kitchen, living room. Like if they looked away for even a second, he might vanish. They stopped eating much. Suah had nightmares every night. Suyeon stopped talking to her friends at school. The teacher called Akewei and said she was worried. They're going through something hard right now, Akewei explained. Their father is deploying. They're scared. I understand, the teacher said. Please let me know if there's anything I can do. But there was nothing anyone could do. The calendar kept moving forward. 2 weeks became 1 week, became 3 days. Jae-won tried to make the time special. He took the girls to their favorite restaurant. He let them stay up late watching movies. He read them extra stories at bedtime. He told them over and over that he loved them and he would come back, but nothing helped. They were scared and there was no fixing it. The night before he left, Jae-won tucked them into bed. They were both in his bed tonight. They had been sleeping there for 2 weeks straight. Appa, Suyeon said, what if you forget about us? I could never forget about you. Not in a million years. But what if you get hurt and your brain stops working and you forget? Then I'll look at the pictures I'm bringing with me. I have 10 pictures of you two in my bag. I'll look at them every single day. What if the pictures get lost? They won't. I'll keep them safe. Suah was quiet. Then she said, what if you die and we have to do this all over again? I don't want to lose another appa. I can't do it again. Jae-won felt like his heart was being ripped out. You're not going to lose me. I promise. Our first appa promised too. I know. And I know that's scary. But I'm coming back. I don't care what I have to do. I'm coming back to you. The girls curled up against him. He held them until they fell asleep. Even after they were sleeping, he stayed awake, memorizing everything. The way Suah snored just a little. The way Suyeon talked in her sleep. The way they both smelled like the strawberry shampoo Akewei bought them. He stayed awake all night. He did not want to miss a single second. The next morning came too fast. They had to be at the base at 8 o'clock. There was a big area where families could say goodbye. Other soldiers were there with their families. Some were crying. Some were trying to be brave. Some were doing both. The girls were holding Jae-won's hands so tight, his fingers were going numb. They had barely said anything all morning. They were too sad to talk. Akewei was there too. Her eyes were red. She had been crying in the bathroom earlier. Jae-won heard her, but pretended he didn't. An officer called out, 15 minutes. 15 minutes. That was all the time left. Jae-won knelt down in front of the girls. I need you to listen to me very carefully. They nodded, tears already falling. I love you both more than anything in the entire world. You are the best thing that ever happened to me, and I am coming back. I need you to believe that. Can you do that? We're trying, Suah whispered. I know it's hard, but I need you to be brave for me. Can you be brave? I don't want to be brave, Suyan said. I want you to stay. I know, sweetheart, I know. The officer called out. 5 minutes. The girls' eyes went wide with panic. They threw themselves at Jae-won, wrapping around him like they were trying to become part of him. Don't go, don't go, don't go, Suyan chanted. Please, Appa, please. Suah begged. Just stay. Please, just stay. Jae-won held them as tight as he could without hurting them. He kissed the top of their heads. I love you. I love you so much. I'll write you letters. I'll come home. I promise. Time, the officer called. Jae-won had to physically pull the girls' hands off his uniform. They were crying so hard they couldn't breathe properly. Akewei took them, one girl in each arm, and they were screaming for him. Appa, Appa, please. Don't leave us. Jae-won picked up his bag. He looked at them one more time. Akewei holding both sobbing girls, all three of them with tears streaming down their faces. He turned and walked toward the transport vehicle. Every step felt impossible. Every step felt wrong. Behind him, he could still hear them crying, calling for him. He did not look back. If he looked back, he would not be able to leave. And he had to leave. But as he climbed into the vehicle, he made himself a promise. He would come home, no matter what. He would come home to his girls. He had to. The first month after Jae-won left was the worst month of Akewei's life, and she had lived through some very bad months before. The girls stopped being themselves. Suah, who loved to read out loud, stopped reading. Suyan, who asked a million questions about everything, stopped asking questions. They went to school, but their teacher said they just sat there, not talking, not playing, just waiting for the day to end. At home, they sat by the window. Every single day, watching, waiting. Like maybe if they watched hard enough, Jae-won would appear. He's not coming today, Akewei would say gently. He's far away. He'll be gone for a while. We know, Suah would say. We're just checking. Akewei took time off from her principal job. She could not focus on work when the girls were like this. The school understood. They told her to take as long as she needed. Every day felt like walking through mud, heavy and slow and exhausting. 2 weeks after Jae-won left, a letter came. The girls saw the mailman first. They ran to the door so fast they almost knocked Akewei over. Is it from Appa? Is it? Akewei looked. Yes. Military postage. Jae-won's handwriting. The girls ripped it open. The letter was short. Lots of words were blacked out because military secrets, but enough was there. My dear Suah and Suyeon, I miss you both so much. I think about you every single day. I'm staying safe. I'm eating enough. Don't worry about me. How is school? How is Goldie? Is Akewei letting you eat ice cream? Be good for her. I love you more than all the stars in the sky. I'll write again soon. Love, Appa. The girls read it 5 times, then 10 times, then 20. They slept with the letter under their pillows. More letters came. Not often. Sometimes 2 weeks would go by with nothing. Then suddenly 3 letters would arrive at once. The girls kept every single one. They put them in a special box, a yellow box that used to hold shoes. Now it held something more important. In May, Jae-won sent a picture. Him with other soldiers, all of them dirty and tired but smiling. The girls stared at that picture for hours. He looks skinny, Suyeon said, worried. The food there is probably not as good as Akewei's cooking, Suah said. They wrote him letters back. Long letters about school and Goldie and the new girl in their class who could do a cartwheel. They drew pictures. They told him they loved him. They told him to come home safe. Do you think he gets our letters? Soo-yeon asked Akewe. I think so. Mail takes a long time to get where he is, but I think he gets them. Good, Soo-yeon said. Because I told him about the math test I failed, and I want him to know I tried my best. He knows you always try your best, Akewe said. The girls were slowly getting better. Still sad, still scared, but a little bit lighter. The letters helped. Knowing he was thinking about them helped. Then in June, the letters stopped. 1 week went by, then 2, then 3. The girls checked the mail every single day. Nothing. Maybe the mail is just slow, Akewe said, trying to sound calm even though her own stomach was churning with fear. Or maybe something bad happened, Suha said quietly. Don't think like that. But what if it's true? Akewe did not have an answer. She called the military liaison office. The person on the phone was polite but not helpful. I'm sorry, ma'am. We don't have information to share about active deployments. But I'm his family. His daughters are worried. I understand. But we can't share details for security reasons. Akewe wanted to scream. Instead, she said thank you and hung up. 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. No letters, no calls, nothing. The girls stopped sleeping well. Suha had nightmares. Sayan would wake up crying, saying she dreamed that Appa was hurt and no one would help him. Akewe barely slept either. She kept having the same thought over and over. Not again. Please, God. Not again. I can't tell these girls they lost another father. I can't. She prayed every night. To God, to her ancestors, to the universe, to anyone who might be listening. Please keep him safe. Please bring him home. Please. It was a Wednesday in July when the knock came. Akewe was making dinner. The girls were doing homework at the table, though mostly they were just staring at their books and not actually reading. Knock, knock, knock. All 3 of them froze. Akewe's heart stopped. She knew that knock. Official knock. Military knock. Stay here, she told the girls. Her voice came out strange and high. She walked to the door like she was walking to her own execution. Her hands were shaking so bad she could barely turn the doorknob. She opened the door. 2 officers stood there. A man and a woman. Both in dress uniforms. Both with serious faces. Akewe's knees went weak. No. Ma'am, the woman officer said. No. Ma'am, Sergeant Oh is alive. The world stopped spinning. What? He's alive. But he's been injured. He's being transported to Seoul Military Hospital. We can arrange transport for you and his daughters if you'd like to be there when he arrives. Akewe grabbed the door frame to keep from falling. Injured. How badly? The officers looked at each other. The doctors will explain more when you arrive, but it's serious. You should come as soon as possible. Behind Akewe, Suha asked in a tiny voice, Is Appa dead? Akewe turned around. Both girls were standing there, faces white, eyes huge. No, Akewe said. Her voice was shaking but strong. No, he's alive. He's hurt, but he's alive. We're going to see him. The girls started crying. But this time it was different crying. Relief crying. Thank God crying. The officers drove them to Seoul. It was an hour drive. The girls held hands in the back seat and did not say anything. They were too scared to talk. Akewe kept thinking, alive, alive, alive. He's alive. That's what matters. Whatever else is wrong, we can deal with it. As long as he's alive. Seoul Military Hospital was big and white and smelled like cleaning chemicals. They sat in a waiting room with plastic chairs and old magazines nobody was reading. The girls sat on either side of Akewe. Suah was chewing her thumbnail. Soo-yeon was bouncing her leg up and down, up and down. Nervous energy with nowhere to go. "It's going to be okay," Akewe said. "How do you know?" Suah asked. "Because he's alive. That means it's already okay. Everything else we can handle." A doctor came out. He was young, maybe 30, with tired eyes and wrinkled scrubs like he had been working for a very long time. "Family of Sergeant Oh, Jae-won?" They all stood up. "I'm Dr. Lee. I've been treating Sergeant Oh since he arrived this morning." "How is he?" Akewe asked. "He's stable, awake. He's been asking for you." "What happened to him?" Dr. Lee gestured for them to sit. He sat across from them and his face was kind but serious. "Sergeant Oh was involved in a frontline engagement 3 days ago. There was an explosion. He sustained significant injuries to both legs." Soo-yeon grabbed Akewe's hand. "We've done 2 surgeries so far to stabilize the damage. Both femurs, those are the big bones in your thighs, were fractured. Both tibias, the bones in your lower legs, were shattered. There's also extensive nerve damage." "What does that mean?" Suah whispered. Dr. Lee looked at her gently. "It means the parts of his body that help him feel and move his legs were hurt very badly. We fixed as much as we could, but some damage can't be fixed." "Will he walk again?" Akewe asked. She had to know. Dr. Lee was quiet for a moment. "Honestly, the chance of him regaining full mobility is very low. Less than 1%. He'll need months of physical therapy. He'll need a wheelchair. And even with all that, walking may not be possible." The room was silent. Then Soo-yeon said, "But he's alive, right?" Dr. Lee smiled. "Yes, he's alive. And honestly, that he survived it all is a miracle. Most people with injuries this severe don't make it. But he did." "Can we see him?" Suah asked. "Of course, but I need to prepare you. He has a lot of medical equipment around him. IVs and monitors, and his legs are in casts. It might look scary, but he's okay. He's stable and he's awake and he's been asking for you every hour." "We want to see him," both girls said together. Dr. Lee stood. "Follow me." They walked down a long hallway. Their footsteps echoed. Suah was holding Akewe's hand so tight it hurt. Soo-yeon was holding the other hand just as tight. Dr. Lee stopped at a door, room 208. "Ready?" he asked. "Yes," Akewe said. He opened the door. The room was small and white. There were machines beeping, an IV pole, monitors showing numbers and lines, and in the bed, propped up a little bit, was Jae-won. He looked different, thinner, paler. There was a new scar across his left cheek. His legs were covered in thick casts from his hips all the way down to his toes. Wires and tubes were everywhere, but he was smiling. "Hi," he said. His voice was rough and quiet, but it was his voice. The girls did not move at first. They just stared. Then Soo-yeon whispered, "Appa." "Hi, baby girl." Soo-yeon ran. She ran so fast she almost tripped. Akewe tried to catch her but missed. "Careful," Dr. Lee said. But Jae-won said, "It's okay. Let her come." Soo-yeon reached the bed and tried to climb up. Akewe helped her, lifting her gently so she would not bump anything. Soo-yeon curled up next to Jae-won, careful of all the wires, and started crying into his shoulder. "You came back," she sobbed. "You came back. You came back. You came back." "I promised I would," Jae-won said. His own voice was breaking now. "I promised." Suah walked over slower. She touched his hand like she was checking to make sure he was real. When she felt his warm skin, she started crying too. Akewe helped her onto the other side of the bed. Both girls curled up against him, careful and gentle, and all three of them were crying. Akeway stood at the foot of the bed with tears streaming down her face. Dr. Lee quietly left the room to give them privacy. "I'm sorry," Jae-won said after a while. "I'm sorry I scared you." "Don't be sorry," Akeway said. "Just don't ever do it again." He almost laughed, but it came out as a sob instead. Suah pulled back a little and looked at his legs. "What happened?" Jae-won took a breath. "There was an explosion. My legs got hurt very badly. The doctors fixed them as much as they could, but I might not be able to walk again." Soo-yeon's eyes went wide. "Never?" "Maybe never. The doctor said there's a very, very small chance, but probably not." Both girls were quiet, taking this in. Then Suah said, "Do you hurt?" "A little. They give me medicine that helps." "Are you sad? About your legs?" Jae-won thought about it. "A little bit sad, but mostly I'm just happy I'm alive. Happy I get to see you two again." Soo-yeon sat up. Her face was very serious. "Appa, I don't care if you can't walk." "You don't?" "No. I mean, I'm sad that you're hurt, but I don't care about the walking part. You're alive. You came home. That's the important part." Suah nodded. "We thought you were dead. We thought you died like our first Appa and we'd never see you again. But you're here. You're here and you're alive, and that's all that matters." Jae-won pulled them both close. He was crying again. "I love you both so much." "We love you too," they said together. Akeway came closer to the bed. She put her hand on Jae-won's shoulder. "Welcome home." He looked up at her. "It's good to be home." Jae-won stayed in the hospital for 2 months. July, August, the whole summer. The girls visited every single day, sometimes twice a day. They brought him drawings. They told him about their day. They read to him when he was too tired to read himself. They watched him do physical therapy. It looked hard and painful. Sometimes Jae-won would grit his teeth and his face would go white, but he would not stop trying. "You're so strong, Appa," Soo-yeon would say. "I don't feel strong," Jae-won would reply. "But you are. You're the strongest person we know." In September, Jae-won moved to a rehabilitation center. He stayed there for 3 weeks doing intensive therapy, learning how to use a wheelchair, learning how to do things without being able to walk. It was hard. Some days he was angry, some days he was sad, some days he did not want to try. But the girls kept showing up, and that kept him going. In late September, the doctors said he could go home. But there was a problem. Jae-won's apartment was not good for a wheelchair. There were stairs, narrow doorways, a bathroom that was too small. "You'll need to find accessible housing," the social worker said. "It might take a few weeks." "He can stay with us," Akeway said. Everyone looked at her. "Our apartment is on the ground floor now. We moved in August. There's space. He can stay with us until he figures something out." Jae-won started to protest. "I can't ask you to do that." "You're not asking. I'm offering. The girls want you home. I want you home. So come home." Jae-won looked at the girls. They were nodding so hard their heads looked like they might fall off. "Okay," he said quietly. "Thank you." So Jae-won moved into Akeway's apartment. It was crowded. 3 people had already been living there, now 4. But no one complained. They just made it work. Jae-won slept on a bed in the living room. The girls helped him with things he could not reach. Akeway managed his medicine schedule and his physical therapy appointments, and made sure he ate enough. Some days were good. Jae-won would do his exercises. He would laugh at the girls' jokes. He would help Suah with reading and Soo-yeon with math from his wheelchair. Other days were hard. Really hard. One night in October, Akeway found him sitting outside on the small balcony. It was cold and he was just sitting there in his wheelchair staring at nothing. "Hey," she said gently. He did not answer. She sat down on the chair next to him. "What's wrong?" "I can't do this." "Can't do what?" "Any of it. I can't walk. I can't take care of myself. I can't even go to the bathroom without help half the time. How am I supposed to be a father like this?" "You already are a father. Being in a wheelchair doesn't change that." "Yes, it does. I can't play soccer with them. Can't teach them to ride bikes. Can't even take them to the park by myself because the bus isn't accessible. They deserve better." Akewe was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Do you know what Suyeon told me yesterday?" "What?" "She said she's glad you're in a wheelchair." Jae-won looked at her, shocked. "What?" "Not glad that you're hurt, but glad that you're home. She said if you had to choose between walking and being alive, she's glad you chose being alive, even if it means the wheelchair." Jae-won's eyes filled with tears. "They don't care about your legs, Jae-won. They care about you. They love you. Wheelchair or no wheelchair, you're still their appa. That doesn't change. What if I never walk again? Then you don't walk, but you're still here. You're still their father. You're still the person who reads them bedtime stories and helps with homework and makes them laugh. None of that requires legs." Jae-won put his face in his hands. "I'm scared." "I know. I'm scared too. But we'll figure it out. Together." He looked up at her. "Why are you doing this? Taking care of me? Letting me live here? You didn't sign up for this." "Yes, I did. The day I agreed to help you adopt the girls, I signed up for all of it. Good days and hard days, healthy days and sick days. All of it. I don't deserve you." "Yeah, you do. And I don't deserve you either. But here we are anyway." They sat in silence for a while. Then Akewe said quietly, "I love you, you know." Jae-won's head snapped up. "What?" "I love you. I've loved you for a while now. I probably should have said it before you deployed, but I was scared. And then you left, and I thought I might never get to say it. So I'm saying it now. I love you." Jae-won stared at her. Tears were running down his face. "I love you too." "Yeah?" "Yeah, so much." Akewe smiled. Then she stood up and kissed his forehead. Just his forehead, soft and gentle. "Come inside," she said. "It's cold out here." "Okay." She wheeled him back inside. The girls were asleep in their room. Goldie was swimming lazy circles in her bowl. Everything was quiet and warm and safe. This was not the life Jae-won had planned. He had not planned to get hurt, had not planned to need a wheelchair, had not planned any of this. But as he looked around the small, crowded apartment, at the girls sleeping peacefully, at Akewe making him tea even though it was late, he realized something. This life was better than anything he could have planned anyway. He was home. He was loved. He had a family. And that was more than enough. In November, 4 months after the injury, Jae-won's physical therapist said something surprising. "I want to try something. There's been some improvement in your nerve response. Very small. But it's there." "What does that mean?" Jae-won asked. "It means maybe, just maybe, we can get you standing. Not walking. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But standing." Jae-won's heart started beating faster. "Really? I'm not making promises, but I think it's worth trying." They started slow, just putting weight on his legs while holding parallel bars. The first time, Jae-won lasted 5 seconds before his legs gave out. The second time, 10 seconds. The third time, 15. The girls watched every session. They cheered for every single second. "You did it, Appa. 15 seconds. Next time you'll do 20. Their belief in him was bigger than his belief in himself. And somehow, that made all the difference. By December, Jae-won could stand for a full minute. His legs shook. It hurt. But he could do it. "This is incredible," the therapist said. "I've never seen recovery like this." "I have good motivation," Jae-won said, looking at his girls. One cold December afternoon, the therapist said, "Let's try a step." "A step?" "Just one. Using the walker for support, just to see." Jae-won's hands were shaking as he gripped the walker. The girls held their breath. He shifted his weight, lifted his right foot, moved it forward 6 inches, put it down. One step. The girls exploded with cheering. "You did it. You walked. You took a step." Jae-won was crying. The therapist was crying. Akewe was crying. "That was one step," the therapist said, wiping her eyes. "Let's not get ahead of ourselves." "But it was a step," Suha said. "That means more steps can happen." She was right. It took 2 more months, 2 months of painful therapy, of falling, of wanting to quit, of the girls saying, "You can do it, Appa, we believe in you." But in February, Jae-won took 3 steps without the walker. Just 3. But 3 steps was 3 more than the doctor said he would ever take. The 1% chance had come through. It was not a full recovery. Jae-won still used the wheelchair most of the time. Still needed a cane for short distances. Still had pain every single day. But he could stand. He could take steps. He could hug his daughters while standing up. And that felt like a miracle. "I told you," Soo-yeon said, grinning. "I told you that you were strong." "I'm only strong because of you two," Jae-won said. "And Akewe," Suha added. "And Akewe," Jae-won agreed, smiling at her. They had been through so much, lost so much, survived so much, but they had survived together, and they were still standing. By November, almost 2 years after the tap-out ceremony where no one came for Jae-won, life looked completely different. Jae-won could walk now, not far, not without his cane. But he could walk from the living room to the kitchen. He could stand at the stove and cook breakfast. He could walk the girls to the bus stop if he went slow. The doctors still called him their miracle patient. The 1% chance had somehow worked out. His physical therapist said she had never seen anything like it. "It's because I had a reason to fight," Jae-won told her. "I had 3 people at home who needed me." The girls were 9 years old now, taller, smarter, still arguing about strawberries versus blueberries at breakfast, still taking turns feeding Goldie, still drawing pictures that covered every wall of the apartment. They had stopped having nightmares about losing their father. Well, mostly. Sometimes Soo-yeon would still wake up and check to make sure Jae-won was in his bed. Just to be sure, just to know he was really there. Jae-won and Akewe had never officially gotten married. They had talked about it. But with everything that happened, the deployment and the injury and the recovery, they just never got around to it. Besides, they already felt married. They lived together, raised the girls together, made decisions together. A piece of paper did not change what they already were, but they were family. All 4 of them. And Goldie, 5, if you counted the fish. One afternoon in early November, Akewe came home from work with a flyer. "There's a tap-out ceremony at the base next week," she said, "for soldiers coming home." Jae-won looked up from where he was helping Suha with her homework. "Why are you telling me?" "I thought maybe we could go. The girls have never seen one. It might be good for them to see what it's like when soldiers come home safe." Jae-won was quiet. He had not been back to the base since his deployment, had not thought about tap-out ceremonies. The last one he attended, he had been the last man standing, the one nobody came for. "I don't know," he said. Soo-yeon looked up from her drawing. What's a tap-out ceremony? So Jae-won explained how soldiers stand in formation, how families come and tap them out, how it means welcome home. You can rest now. We're here. Is that where we met you? Suwa asked. At one of those? Yes, exactly at one of those. Then we should go, Soo-yeon said firmly. We should see it. Jae-won looked at Akeway. She was smiling softly. It might be nice, she said, to go back, to see how far we've come. Okay, Jae-won said. We'll go. The ceremony was on a Tuesday afternoon, the same time of day as the one 2 years ago, the same field, the same setup. Jae-won walked slowly from the parking lot, using his cane. The girls walked on either side of him, not rushing him, just staying close. Akeway walked behind, carrying a bag with water and snacks because that's what she did. She prepared for everything. They found a spot near the rope barrier where families waited. The field was filling up with people. Excited people, happy people. People holding signs that said, "Welcome home and we missed you." The soldiers marched onto the field, 40-something of them, all in formation, all standing straight and still. Jae-won watched and remembered standing there 2 years ago, remembered the feeling of watching everyone else get tapped out while he stood alone, remembered thinking he had survived a war only to come home to nothing. Suwa took his hand. Are you okay, Appa? Yes, baby, I'm okay. Just remembering. Remembering when we met you? Yes. That was a good day, Soo-yeon said. Scary and sad, but also good, because we found you. Jae-won squeezed her shoulder. I found you too. The tap-out started. One by one, families rushed forward. Wives, husbands, parents, children, everyone so happy, everyone so relieved. The girls watched with wide eyes. Everyone looks so happy, Suwa said. They are happy. They missed their soldiers and now they're home. The crowd was thinning. Most soldiers had been tapped out. They were walking away with their families, heading to the parking lot, heading home. Then Jae-won noticed something. One soldier was still standing. Young kid, maybe 20 years old, standing at attention. Alone. Jae-won's chest got tight. More families left. The field got quieter. The soldier was still standing. Shamas, the ceremony officer, was looking at his list. Looking confused. Looking uncomfortable. Jae-won knew that look. He had seen it directed at him 2 years ago. Appa, Soo-yeon whispered, tugging on his sleeve. That soldier doesn't have anyone. I see him. Just like you, Suwa said quietly. Nobody came for him. Jae-won watched the young soldier. Watched him stand perfectly still even though his eyes looked lost, even though his jaw was clenched tight, even though he was probably dying inside. Can we go tap him out? Soo-yeon asked suddenly. Jae-won looked down at her. What? Can we tap him out, like we did for you? He shouldn't stand alone. Suwa nodded. Nobody should stand alone. That's what our first Appa always said. And you said it too. Nobody should stand alone. Jae-won felt something warm spread through his chest. He looked at Akeway. She was already smiling, tears in her eyes. Yes, Jae-won said. Yes, let's go. They walked to the rope barrier. Jae-won moving slow with his cane. The girls practically bouncing with purpose. An officer saw them coming and started to wave them back. Sir, the ceremony is ending. You need to stay behind the rope. My daughters want to tap out that soldier, Jae-won said, pointing to the young man still standing alone. The officer looked at the soldier, then at the girls, then at Jae-won with his cane and his military bearing and his eyes that said, I know exactly what that kid is feeling. Go ahead, the officer said quietly. Go on. The girls ducked under the rope and ran across the field. their yellow jackets bright against the gray November sky. The young soldier saw them coming. His eyes went wide, confused. Soo-yeon reached him first. She took his hand without asking permission. Soo-ah grabbed his other hand. "You're not alone," she said. "We're here." The soldier's face crumpled. His shoulders started shaking. "It's okay," Soo-yeon said. "You can move now. You did good. You can rest." The soldier dropped to his knees. Both girls hugged him while he cried. Right there in the middle of the field. Jae-won walked out slowly, Akewe beside him. When he reached them, the young soldier looked up, saw the cane, saw the way Jae-won moved like someone who knew pain intimately. "Thank you," the soldier choked out. "I didn't think anyone would come." "I know that feeling," Jae-won said. 2 years ago, I stood exactly where you are. Nobody came for me either." "What happened?" Jae-won looked at his daughters, at Akewe. "These two walked up to me, just like they walked up to you, and they changed everything." The young soldier looked at the girls. "Who are you?" "I'm Soo-ah." "I'm Soo-yeon." "We came to make sure you weren't alone," Soo-ah said. "Because nobody should be alone." The soldier started crying again. "Thank you. Thank you so much." The ceremony officer came over. He looked at Jae-won and something passed between them. A recognition. An understanding. "Welcome home, soldier," the officer said to the young man. "You're dismissed." The soldier stood slowly. He looked lost, like he did not know where to go now. "Do you have somewhere to stay?" Akewe asked gently. "Temporary housing on base. Just me." "Are you hungry?" The soldier nodded. "Then come have dinner with us," Akewe said. "We have plenty of food, and you shouldn't be alone today. Not today." The soldier's eyes filled with fresh tears. "I can't ask you to do that." "You're not asking. We're offering." They took the soldier to dinner at a small restaurant near the base, the same one Akewe had taken Jae-won to 2 years ago. The grandmother who owned it was still there. She took one look at the young soldier and brought out extra food without being asked. His name was Private Min-soo Park, 21 years old, from Busan. His family had disowned him when he joined the military against their wishes. They refused to come to the ceremony, refused to answer his calls. Jae-won listened and heard his own story echoed back. "It gets better," Jae-won said. "I know it doesn't feel like it now, but it does." "How?" Min-soo asked. "How does it get better when everyone you love has turned their back?" Jae-won looked at Soo-ah and Soo-yeon. They were sharing a bowl of rice and arguing about who got the last piece of chicken. He looked at Akewe, who was already making sure Min-soo had enough water and enough food and enough kindness. "You build a new family," Jae-won said. "Not to replace the old one, but to remind yourself that love comes in lots of different forms, sometimes from the most unexpected places." Min-soo looked at the girls. "They're your daughters?" "Yes." "And you?" He looked at Akewe. "Family," Akewe said simply. "We're all family." Min-soo's chin trembled. "I don't have that." "You do now," Soo-yeon said matter-of-factly. "We adopted you. You're ours now." Soo-ah nodded seriously. "That's what we do. We find people who are standing alone and we make them family." Min-soo laughed through his tears. "Just like that?" "Just like that," both girls said together. They exchanged phone numbers, made Min-soo promise to call if he needed anything, invited him to Sunday dinner the following week. When they dropped him back at the base, he hugged all of them, even Jae-won, who he had known for only 3 hours. "Thank you," Min-soo said. "You have no idea what this means." "I have every idea," Jae-won said. "Pass it on someday. When you see someone standing alone, you tap them out. That's how we heal. That's how we survive. I will, Minsu promised. I will. On the drive home, the girls fell asleep in the back seat, tired from the big day. Akewe drove. Jae-won sat in the passenger seat, looking out the window at the city lights. That was good, Akewe said quietly. What we did today. It was the girls' idea. They learned it from you, from us. Jae-won turned to look at her. I've been thinking. About what? About how I came home 2 years ago with nothing. No family, no future, no hope, and now I have everything. You have 2 daughters who love you very much. I have 3 people who love me, Jae-won corrected. 2 daughters and 1 incredible woman who saved my life without even knowing she was doing it. Akewe's eyes got shiny. You saved mine too. I want to make it official, Jae-won said. What do you mean? I mean marry me. For real this time. Not just living together and raising kids together, actually married. Akewe's breath caught. Jae-won. I don't have a ring. I didn't plan this. But sitting here right now, looking at our girls sleeping in the back, thinking about the family we built from nothing, I don't want to wait anymore. Marry me. Akewe pulled the car over to the side of the road, put it in park, turned to look at him. Are you serious? Completely serious. We already act married. I know, but I want it to be real. I want everyone to know that you're mine and I'm yours and we're a family. I want it official. Akewe laughed. It came out half laugh, half sob. You're asking me to marry you on the side of the road with our kids asleep in the back seat. Yes. Is that okay? It's perfect, you idiot. She kissed his forehead, gentle and soft. Yes. Of course, yes. In the back seat, Soo-yeon's sleepy voice said, Finally, we've been waiting forever. Both adults jumped. You're awake? We've been awake the whole time, Soo-ah said, sitting up and grinning. And it's about time you asked. We thought we were going to have to do it for you. Everyone laughed, sitting in a pulled-over car on the side of a road in November, laughing until they cried. Happy tears this time, the best kind. They got married 3 months later. Small ceremony, just close friends and family. The girls wore yellow dresses, of course. They walked Akewe down the aisle, one on each side. Jae-won stood at the front, leaning on his cane but standing, waiting for his family to come to him. When Akewe reached him, she was crying, happy crying. Hi, he said. Hi, she said back. They said their vows, promised to love each other, promised to be a family, promised to always tap each other out when the world got too heavy. When they kissed, the girls cheered so loud the officiant had to pause. At the reception, Min-soo showed up. He had become a regular at Sunday dinners, had slowly started to heal. He brought flowers for Akewe and congratulations for Jae-won. Thank you for inviting me, he said. Your family, Soo-yeon said. Family comes to weddings. Jae-won's parents were there too. His mother cried through the whole ceremony. His father kept patting Jae-won's shoulder like he was making sure he was real. I'm proud of you, his father said quietly. I should have said that 2 years ago, but I'm saying it now. I'm so proud of you. Thank you, Appa, Jae-won said. At the end of the night, when the guests had gone home and the girls had finally crashed from too much cake, Jae-won and Akewe stood outside looking at the stars. We did it, Akewe said. We did. From a tap-out ceremony to this, who would have thought? Jae-won pulled her close. 2 little girls in yellow dresses, that's who. Akewe laughed. They knew before we did. They usually do. They stood there for a while, just being, just existing together, just being grateful. You know what the best part is? Jae-won said. What? I came home to nobody, and now I have everybody. Akewei leaned her head on his shoulder. We all came home, together. And that was the truest thing either of them had ever said. Inside, Soo-ah and Soo-yeon were asleep on the couch, still in their yellow dresses, holding hands even in sleep. Outside, two people who had been alone stood together under the stars. And somewhere, maybe in heaven or maybe just in memory, Captain Park Dae-jung smiled. Because his girls were okay. His best friend was okay. And the soldier who had held his hand at the end had become the father his daughters needed. Everything had worked out exactly the way it was supposed to. Not the way anyone planned, but the way it needed to be. A family built from grief and grace and two little girls who knew that nobody should ever stand alone. A family that proved love doesn't always look the way you expect. Sometimes it looks like a tap-out ceremony where nobody comes, and two strangers in yellow dresses who change everything.